Can you start by telling us your name and what you do?
My name is George Middleton. I am a mental health counselor. I am a mentor, and I'm also a musician.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to start with the questions now. The first question that I have for you is, what does trauma mean to you?
Trauma means any series of events that cause overwhelming stress to an individual that incapacitates them from normal function in daily life.
How do you feel your place of employment addresses trauma?
My place of employment is a mental health agency, so we are filled with professionals who take training in trauma. Uh, we work with clients who are affiliated with trauma in their personal lives, either past or current. And then we also are more prone to being um, aware of self-care as we're in situations dealing with other people's stresses and that daily impact or that daily exposure can increase our susceptibility to trauma.
Okay, so do you support gun violence and trauma as a public health issue? Why or why not?
Most definitely. Um, in the work that I'm doing, I see gun violence as a highly politicized issue, which has now become conflated with religion and race. And the unfortunate dilemma is that the media and sources of media portray gun violence as particular to a particular racial group, when in actuality, gun violence is pretty much occurring in all communities. It just looks different, and the media doesn't do a cross section of that. It really sensationalizes one area that displays itself to the racial narrative, and so people only look at one area and then discount the other piece. And the overriding uh, motivation for gun violence is the economic agenda behind it.
Okay, how do you feel community involvement can bring awareness to trauma healing center solutions?
Community involvement, I think, it needs to be done on a twofold process. First, before you try to work with another uh, group of people, you have to kind of check yourself to see where are you really on gun violence. Are you trying to play to a political narrative? Are you trying to play to a racial narrative? Examine your own thought process before you try to go out there and work with other communities. Because if your perspective is one that is slanted from a media perspective or from a racial perspective or from a partisan perspective, then you may be doing harm to those who don't fall into your views.
Okay, so the last question I have is, how do you feel schools can support students who have experienced any type of trauma, whether it be gun violence, familial trauma, what have you?
The most effective tools for schools is the use of media, music, and art, as those are the three primary sources that our children are getting messages about violence from. And there's a whole business centered and developed around media, music, games that are all violence prone and teach these messages through fun and repetitious activity. So the schools should be equally as active in creating a counter narrative through games, through music, through media, so that there's something that they can associate with positive messaging in that art form.
Well, thank you for your insight, Mr. Middleton.
It is my pleasure.